Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wednesday here on the Pagan Perspective. I'm your host, Eric. This week we are talking about spirituality versus religion. This week we're talking about spirituality versus religion, and I'm going to go ahead and read this real quick. It is from Mr. Abane. I'm curious what you guys think about spirituality subverting or overtaking religion or tradition. By tradition, he cites formalized systems such as initiatory Wicca in the modern pagan movement. So, with spirituality, people have great personal freedoms and can take from a plethora of sources and techniques that suit themselves, but they also change the formulae that the tradition or system has developed. They also open themselves to what I see as an endless spiral of consumerism from the more new agey side of paganism, thoughts or ideas. So, that's a lot to talk about when you're talking spirituality versus following a specific tradition and whether or not that tradition ties into your spirituality. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it as bluntly as I can. I don't particularly care for traditional religions. I don't. That's why I was drawn to paganism in the first place, is because it's kind of a do what you like thing. And I realize that that's not for everybody, and I don't want everybody to do that, because then all of the information that we have for the people who are very gung-ho about their religious traditions, that information goes away. And I think that information, having that information, is kind of awesome. So I appreciate that it's there, and I appreciate the fact that I can then look into those traditions and take out what I like. I think if those traditions were to go away completely, the world would be a much poorer place for it. So I'm glad everybody is not like me in the fact that they want to delve into the traditional information and cherry pick what they want out of it. And I do, when I do that specifically, I have a tendency to try to give props and venerate the people who have brought that to me, and to thank them, whether that be in person or in spirit, or in intent. I think it's something that, like I said, without that we would be a much poorer place as a species, as humans. I think we would miss out on a lot. Another thing that he brings up is the idea of opening yourself up to an endless spiral of consumerism from the more new agey side of paganism. Well, I'm not knocking the people who like to buy their tools, because I happen to be one of them. I like to buy the tools that I use in ritual when I do ritual, which is very rarely anymore. But I like to have nice things. And although sometimes it can get a little out of control, saying, well, I need to buy a new this and then buy a new that, and I need to get more of this, and I need to, well, that's just because it's available. It's not because I find that it's the best way, or the best form I practice even. But I do try to kind of keep it under control for myself. It is something that can draw you away from spirituality. It can draw you away from connecting with your deity if you're more worried about your tools than you are your experience. So you just to deal with that, I have a tendency to occasionally just open myself up and notice the divine around me, as opposed to using tools to connect to the divine in the way that many of us are used to. I tend to try on occasion to see my spirituality, or to experience my spirituality, just when I'm out and about, not necessarily even out in nature, out in the woods, out in the mountains, just even when I'm around town, seeing things for what they are and seeing the divine in things that otherwise would have been neglected or not noticed. So that's one way that I tend to try to avoid the commercialism, is trying to connect to the divine for myself and connect with my spirituality without using tools whenever I'm not doing something formal, anything, ritual based or formal like that. What do I think about spirituality subverting or overtaking tradition? Um, I don't want it to happen completely, obviously. As I've stated before, if we lose those traditions completely, we definitely lose a part of our culture that gives us the ability to do what we do. So, you know, I'm very glad that it's out there, and I would be very sad to see that happen completely, to see those traditions disappear completely. But at the same time, I personally, as a single person, am not particularly interested in submitting myself as a member of those actually structured traditions. So this is my opinion, and this is kind of what I think about the idea. Thank you for the topic, Mr. O'Bain. That was awesome. It made me think. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to post those in the comment section below. But that's it for me this week. Thanks for watching, everybody, and of course, until next time, Odin be with you.